Supertalk Mississippi media production.
While traveling along the roads of North Mississippi, be sure to spot the Oil Drop logo for your next stop. All D's Oil locations are locally owned and operated. D's Oil, where there's quality in every tank.
First of all, before we get started, Paul Gallo here with mega thanks for clicking on another episode of Mississippi Magic. We are forever grateful that you're sharing the podcast with friends and family. Just wanted to say thank you so very, very much. You know, every child in the Magnolia State should be told the story of Mississippi Magic, because in every hometown there lives yet another name destined for the pages of history. You see, Mississippi Magic is not something that was. It's something that is. So, as we wait for the stars to shine on the next generation, let's go back a few decades to another famous Mississippian who left more than just a page in entertainment history. Herman's body of work would take a chapter to record. That incredible story unfolds next. That's titled Talent from Another World, right after this brief message from our sponsor. Well, here's another reason to buy quality from a company like Divinity Equipment. They've earned elite dealer status. That reason? Climate change, or the lack of it. What I mean is, if you live in Mississippi, summers haven't changed. They're always hot. And the other three seasons, well, with some of the best all-around weather this close to the Gulf Coast, there's always a job to do. So congratulations to Divinity Equipment for being awarded Kubota Elite Dealer status, the highest level of recognition for customer commitment in product and service. Not only Kubota, you're going to find a yard full of professional equipment for big yards to big jobs, from farm to construction. Other names like New Holland, Land Pride, Woods, and more. And one more thing. Whether it's buying or renting, you got to check the Divinity website for monthly specials on new and used equipment, rental inventory, and so much more. I think people all across central Mississippi and beyond know that if you've got a big job, one time or all the time, you can make a little Mississippi magic happen with a deal from Divinity. Divinity Equipment, Highway 51 North in Madison and in Jackson, Mississippi. Herman's story begins in a little community in Mississippi carved out of the thickets and woods. Those woods are why he was born there, because Herman's father was a real-life Paul Bunyan. His dad was a lumberjack in a growing little town that was fueled by the growth of the Mississippi lumber mills. But when Herman looked up, he looked past the tops of the tall pines and he fixated on the stars. And he wanted to be one of them. For Herman, even as a young man, his destiny was acting, not axes. And when those dreams for the Mississippi Dreamer began to take form, he went all in, taking up acting in small roles in the local theaters. As Herman's desire to be in the entertainment field, to sing and act and dance grew even stronger, his dad put down the saws and took a job in the oil business in New Orleans and later in Texas. Herman's interest in that field was even less than being a lumberjack. Maybe it was that Mississippi magic that answered Herman's most perplexing question: how do I get from here to Hollywood? The first step for his answer would come from performing in traveling shows anywhere, anytime, anyhow. And that's exactly what he did. That work ethic and love of an occupation that he'd chosen took him and his incredible talent to New York City, long way off from a little town carved out of the forest in Mississippi. As I mentioned earlier, to list Herman's body of work would take a full afternoon. But we can start with his agent calling him one rainy day in New York and telling him that the producers of a Broadway show wanted him to come back for another look. He did, and yes, he got the part. And now it was official. The son of a Mississippi lumberjack was a Broadway star. Herman's brilliant star dimmed in 2001 as he died at the age of 86. But he never stopped marveling at how people remembered his body of work for just one role. And rightfully so, because even though it would take too long to mention all of his resume, here's just a bit. Legendary box office successes like South Pacific, Damn Yankees, Of Mice and Men, Hamlet, and so many more. Herman starred with the biggest names in show business. Robert Redford, Paul Newman. For over 40 years, Herman's talent, many times playing America's favorite grouchy old man, was a common sight in the credits, from the big stage to the big screen, in memorable movies like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Popeye's father Poop Deck in the 1980s film. On the small screen, Herman brought to life a multitude of characters in hit shows like The Wild Wild West, Love American Style, Mission Impossible, The $1 Million Man, Little House on the Prairie, and yes, another blockbuster called Star Trek. A side note here on an interesting story. It was told that during one of the appearances on the Voyager episode called In the Flesh, Herman, who, truth be told, oftentimes had trouble remembering his lines, recited script from Hamlet. A co-star picked it up without missing a beat and continued the dialogue, and Herman again, before a hypnotized and dazzled cast and crew somewhere deep into replacing Star Trek script with Hamlet and ending with a flair. The workforce-turned-audience broke out to applaud the impromptu performance. As if stage and screen weren't enough for Herman, he also narrated many United States Department of Defense films about nuclear experiments. And in 1995, Herman was the face of an AT&T long-distance commercial. In the latter years, the industry and the fans recognized the incredible talents and contributions of the Mississippi-born legend. He became one of the first members admitted to the newly formed Actor Studio. He won Tony Awards, Emmys, and accolades from his fans and the entire industry. But even during his last days, Herman was always amazed that none of those aforementioned parts were what he would most likely be remembered for. What was it? His body of work was so immense, from South Pacific to Star Trek. Herman will be remembered more for this one TV show than any other performance. You see, from 1963 to 1966, millions of Americans gathered around the small screen to watch a guy born in Laurel, Mississippi, the son of a lumberjack, play a character out of this world. And even though his contributions are vast, with his incredible body of work, fans will forever remember him for one zany show. A show where Raymond Herman Walston, that's right, Ray Walston from Laurel, Mississippi, was and forevermore will be my favorite Martian.
The plain fact of the matter is, I'm from Mars. Now, don't look so astonished. I'm a professor of anthropology from Mars, specializing in this primitive planet.
Mars? I'm afraid you got hit a little harder than you think.
That idiot in your antique rocket plane almost ran into me.
You mean the X-15?
And now I'm marooned on this backward planet until I can repair my ship.
Now, hold it.
Oh, that idiot at the controls reported me to his base as a flying saucer. Well, just don't sit there. I've been hurt.
Ray Walston, another Mississippian who graces the pages of American entertainment history, where big dreams from a small Mississippi hometown in Laurel took him out of this world, with the help of a little Mississippi magic.
A Supertalk Mississippi media production.